So we're talking about the new AI software that Anthropic and Google are bringing to the table, right? Things that kind of control your computer. We talked about last time about you type in a prompt and it can do work for you, right?
Yep. Yep.
So what we want to do with that is what can I actually what work can I actually get done with these products? And the good, the bad, the ugly, I think it's easier if we talk about like a specific use case that can be compared or, broadened to another use case for the individual listening, right? Something
Hmm.
where it's like,
Hmm.
we'll focus on this. You can use it in your own business, whatever way you want to. But the setup is going to be relatively the same when you're in co-work. And then we'll talk a little bit about, for this use case specifically, AEO and GEO. So we're talking both from the consumer side and the business side, and how you can get set up and ready to go and prepared for this stuff before it doesn't make sense to do it anymore. AEO and GEO, when you're writing blog posts where AI is picking up this information, this skill specifically is not transferable to any other part of your business, right? You're learning about AEO and GEO and how to structure blog posts and how to write landing pages and, the text files and the robot files and things that just help AI crawl your website efficiently. One of the questions we're going to ask is it better to learn how to do this and understand all the nuances about it, or is it better to give it to somebody else, a business who knows how to do this, so you can take that off your plate? And we'll just look at the two options there, because it's a little bit in depth. We're going to do a light cover of it, but we want to make sure you're set up for success if you're a do-it-yourself kind of guy, or hey, my business is already running smoothly, let me hand this off.
I do want to touch on that just for clarity. Let's kind of talk about just briefly, spend 2 minutes what those three actually mean. Because if you've been a business owner for the past 2 decades, or have spent money on search engine optimization, SEO, to be able to rank your website within the first top 10 search terms, right? We want to show up on the first page of Google so that people that are searching for a service or a product or a problem to have solved, that you show up and that you are there to save the day. Where we have AEO, which is answer engine optimization, that specifically focuses on the direct answer of how to, or what, or where, or why. Questions that appear specifically in snippets and voice searches within the large language model, within ChatGPT as an example. Whereas GEO is generative engine optimization, which focuses on how the AI systems itself, let's say specifically in this use case is ChatGPT and Perplexity, consume content to represent your brand, your business as an entity. And the idea behind that is to, or your peer review, your perspective, your ultimate goal is to build trust and authority so that those blog posts, articles, images, what have you, are being cited as a source for those AI responses from the consumer side of things. And just like SEO, just like any real service that is not in your area of expertise, generally it is either built in-house or it is outsourced to an expert in that field. I don't see, Nate, personally, why this would be any different.
One in three chats, or 1 in 3 searches, are now being done just with ChatGPT or Anthropic or Google or whatever, right? If you think of
Right.
answer engine optimization, it's when you type into a Google search bar in today, and it just gives you that little blurb at the top. It says, hey, here's kind of the answer to your question. Here's a YouTube video. Here's the step-by-step instructions. That generative engine optimization is thinking about, if I was asking the why and the what, all the context around the question that I'm asking, the research that it brings up, the pain points, the other things. And then at the end of it, I say, okay, so who should I use or what should I buy? Well, there's your answer. But the generative is all the stuff above that answer.
Let's talk about first what Claude is as a tool. What is Claude Cowork? Would you mind just giving us a quick little rundown of, in layman's terms, so that people can understand what it is that we're talking about in the first place?
Yeah. So if you have a Claude account and you log in, you'll see that it has 3 tabs. One's for chat, one's for cowork, and one's for code.
Mm-hmm.
The chat is just, your basic, I'm going to ask you questions, you're going to give me answers. Maybe you'll give me some step-by-step stuff that I can do manually. Cowork is where you can bring in the context of whatever you're working on. Let's just use business for this example. You can bring in your brand voice, your guidelines, your products, your services, all of that overall broad information about your business. And then you can assign skills. So if I want to write a product update email about a product, I would have a main MD file
Mm-hmm.
about all of the information for my business.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe in that main MD file, it wouldn't specifically talk about my product update email and my tone and persona for that. So there's a main Claude file that has my overall tone and persona. Now, when I put in the skill or ask it to do something to create that product update email in that main Claude MD file, it's going to reference my product update tone and persona MD file for my product update emails. So you'll have a couple of different MD files for different parts of your business. Think of it maybe operations, marketing, finance, all that kind of stuff. And then inside of those, it'll break down even further. So you're thinking, now we're in a folder. Here's my business, Nate Swift. Inside of it has marketing operations. Inside of marketing, it has product update emails, live call emails. It has social media posts. And your main Claude MD file will reference all those things based on the question you ask. So it's actually, you don't have to tell it to do that. When you say product update email or anything in reference to product update emails, it will go and find that through the main Claude MD file to that product update MD file and all the information.
But you have to train it. You have to give it that information.
Yeah,
Without it, the output it becomes generic, correct?
yeah, exactly. And it's not like a difficult thing to do to train these files or train the AI on these files, right?
So do you want to walk us through like a well-structured Claude session? Or do you want to just kind of briefly discuss pros and cons? Like where are you thinking here? What would be the
Well,
best?
yeah, I'd like to give everybody watching a visual of what this looks like. And of course, there's a ton of different opinions on the best way to set this up. I think the best way that I've learned to do this is to give it the information about my business and then have it help me set up the actual project that can do things the way that I want it to do, right?
Hmm.
Okay. So I'm gonna just share a screen really quick. This is my Claude app on my computer. You go over to projects and you can create a new project. Okay. From here, you can start from scratch, import a project, or use an existing folder. What I did is I just started from scratch because this allows you to create the folders on your computer where you want them and then create more information inside of those folders. So let me click into my Whoosy project and we'll look on this right-hand side that says context. Now, this folder lives in my file system on my computer. So if I actually go into my files, I can see that I have a Whoosy folder with email guidelines, product audience context, skills, social guidelines, all that stuff. And to build this out the right way, you want to be able to start the chat. You can literally just start a chat here and say, hey, I want to set up a project for my business. What do you need from me? Where should I start? What's the context I should give it? And obviously the first thing that we need to do is just be able to know that it needs our tone and persona. It needs to know what our business is about, our products we sell, the services we offer. Let's say I do YouTube videos. And after that YouTube video is done, I have a transcript from it. Before I post it to YouTube, I'm just taking the transcript from CapCut or Premiere, wherever I edited it in. And basically what I want that to do is take a YouTube transcript. And when I post it inside of a chat, I want this Cowork to go do research for keywords. I want it to do research for other videos in that niche for titles and thumbnail images. And I want it to structure the description with AEO and GEO in mind. So it's cognizant of how to write the description to be able to do this stuff. And it will do the entire YouTube description and title and thumbnails just based off of me giving it a transcript file. So like a TXT file or a PDF document, however I exported the transcript. And then you'll start to see, once you upload those files or give it the information, you'll start to see that it builds out a folder for YouTube instructions. And it has an AEO, GEO context for writing. It has the YouTube guidelines, and then it has my YouTube SOPs. So now when that transcript gets pasted in here, that document gets pasted in here, it will understand from the main Claude MD file to go reference the YouTube instructions and look at these 3 guides before it gets started. Okay, so for a better visual here, because I know I'm kind of just talking about these MD files and what are they? They're just markdown files. They're just basically a TXT file that have information in them. So if you want to look at this picture here, we have the main Claude MD file that references everything inside that we built out with Claude. So now when you start a conversation in the chat, it's able to follow these instructions and get a task done. So we need to relate that to our AEO and GEO strategy that we're talking about at the beginning of this. We need to take a specific example, like if you were to run a promotion for your store. Let's say you sell products or services for your store in June. Well, how long does it take for AI to be able to crawl social media? How long does it take to crawl your Google My Business profile, your blog post that you put out about this? Those are the things that we want to talk about. So a month before your actual sale, you might want to get started on this stuff. So for example, we're going to use a tire shop that's going to be running a 50% discount promo on oil changes in the month of June. Now, how do we use Claude Cowork to get this kind of stuff done? We need to understand a little bit of the background information first. right? We want to understand if we're going to do this project, we actually need to know in our head what it looks like. Okay, so if we need blog posts, we have to write blog posts. If we want AI to find this stuff by June, and let's say it's April right now, we need to post this stuff relatively soon in the next week or two. Definitely give it about 30 days to be able to pick up the context. Well, we already talked about how AI searches are being done inside of ChatGPT and Claude. So it's going to be important to be able to come up in those, because a conversation happens and it's not just, hey, I need to get my oil changed. Where do I go? It's always going to be at least, 10 to 20 different back and forth prompts, doing discovery, learning about research. So where can you appear in that middle of the conversation? Or is there any sales being ran? That could happen fourth, fifth prompt down. It could be, I want to help the local businesses out. So I don't want it like a Valvoline oil or a Jiffy Lube. I want somebody that's, here in Boise, Idaho, that's going to help me out, and I can help them out by supporting their business. Okay. So there's things that now we can tell Claude, because we already know how this stuff is done. Now we can set Claude up to do it. So you have to be a master of your business before you can delegate or hire somebody new, because how are you going to train them if you don't know how to do the work yourself? So it's going to need to know the basics of your business, your phone numbers, your locations. It's going to want your Google My Business link so it can read reviews, your target audience, the pain points, all that kind of stuff. So a visual for you is, hey, you're the business owner. This is our task that we want to do. We're giving all of our information that Claude has asked us for that we think is going to be relevant to this project. We're giving to Cowork inside of a project. Okay, it's going to read all your files. It's going to understand what this promo page copy is going to look like. It's going to understand your Google business profile. That's what GBP stands for. And then without you having to do any work, that's the benefit of Cowork, is that you give it that skill or you give it that prompt, and it's going to write your blog for you. It's going to make a post for you for Google My Business. And then the AI is going to be optimized on that blog post to be crawled. So the little robots can get in there and read the files and the JSON and all that nonsense that we don't really care about, because we're just looking at the pictures trying to get information. But it's very important for AI to understand how that stuff works.
It sounds like there's a lot of nuance. And if you know what you're doing, this would be a tremendous tool for you and your business. I'm just afraid the average person that is watching and listening to this right now, that this could be a little overwhelming.
Which it absolutely is. You should be an expert at changing oil. You shouldn't be an expert at AI. That's the dilemma, isn't it? Learning a new skill or a technique to generate more business so you can be good at what you do.
Yeah, I definitely see what kind of friction a business owner would have with this.
Yeah, and I think it's important that the viewers who are watching understand that this is a very technical process, but it's not impossible to achieve.
Correct, especially if you already have like an in-house marketing team, as an example, or anybody that's within your organization that is tech savvy, and can assess and build this for you. But then what happens in 3 months? What happens in a year? What happens when things update, like they are updating constantly? The landscape in artificial intelligence is so obscenely fast that those that are in the space, those that are actually behind the wheel, can't even keep up. How are we, as the normies, going to be able to stay in line with everything that's going on?
Absolutely.
Okay. So from an operational level, it's actually quite extensive, because there's like, you're setting all of this up, but then there's a lot of things that are happening from the back end that needs to happen on a consistent basis. And so this is where I guess the difference between, and forgive me if I'm jumping the gun here, but the difference between using a Claude Cowork and understanding the landscape of how to even be relevant, let alone be dominating in your space in 2026. Within a platform like Halo, you're also having opportunity for human intervention, because you are hiring the experts that are also managing this back end. Because with when you sign up for a tool like Claude or ChatGPT or whatever, it's just a tool. It's a software. It's like Microsoft Word. You don't have, sure, there might be a support ticket or what have you, customer service, but it's an entirely different landscape. Am I right, wrong? Am I completely off basis here in that regard?
Give me the quick rundown of the question there. Just like,
with utilizing a tool like Claude Cowork to be able to try to stay relevant, let alone dominate in the space, Halo is a product that does all of those things, but there is also human intervention. There is also a support team. There's also a firm in the back end that is assisting you if need be. Is that correct?
Yeah. So you're putting together the idea in your head and you're saying, hey, guys who run Halo, who's he? This is what I want to do. Can you do it for me? And then,
Got it.
right. And then we're coming back and saying, yeah, we can do this for you. Here's a better strategy around doing it. And if you approve this strategy, we'll go get it done for you.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Just a
Mm-hmm.
simple consultation, quick meeting. Let's get after it and get it done.
So it's truly a done for you service. What do you have right here? What are you showing us right now?
Yes. So yeah, it is a done for you service. What I have on the screen right now is basically what we would have Cowork do for us when we're setting up this landing page, these blog posts, all of that information. So the promo page, Wix can do this headline description, offer the details, the FAQ, the call to action, and that's the same thing for the Google Business Profile post, which I don't think enough people take advantage of. Honestly, Google Business Profile.
Yeah.
Google is already optimized for AI. So if you're making posts on your Google Business Profile, you're going to show up in search results way faster than if you were to create this blog post. But in tandem, they work better together,
You can actually make posts on your business profile. That's crazy.
right? It's writing the post for you in the right way that it will be optimized for AI to pick up
So
and
it
post.
completely eliminates all of the guesswork and how to structure it and all that
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. Instead of having to do the research and understand what is this going to do for me, it does the research for you and then it just does it for you. It's crazy. I mean, when you see this thing work on your computer, you're literally watching it do what you want it to do. But once it has written all this information for you and it's created these files on your computer for you. For this example I'm showing you right now in Canvas, I had my Cowork agent develop this step-by-step scenario or presentation of what I was trying to get across for this call. It downloaded it on my computer and then I uploaded it to Canvas as a PowerPoint, and it was able to read all basically everything that I had in that conversation with Cowork. What I was trying to do. I asked it the questions, developed the plan, and then it created this for me with infographics so I could relay it to the audience here. Okay. So it's pretty cool. Like you do have real files on your computer that it creates. And another piece to this puzzle, I'll just do this one quickly, is you want to see if this information is actually, this work that you're doing is actually showing results, right?
Hmm.
So unless you have a software platform that is reading prompts that people are asking AI, that's testing these prompts, seeing what the visibility is of your blogs and your information coming up, how do you know it's working or how do you know it's not working? So Halo, for this example, does have all of that information on the dashboard. You know, what are you populating for in SEO, AEO, and GEO? Are you being seen on Claude, Grok, Gemini, ChatGPT? What is your visibility? How much has it increased? So it's basically like Google Search Console shows you your impressions and your clicks for new pages that are indexed. This is what Halo does for you on the AEO and GEO side of things. So you can
Hmm.
actually see those results start to come in after a month of work or after 2 months of work. And that's important. So now that you see that it's working, you're like, okay, I want to delegate more time, or I want to focus more on this specific department of my business because it is giving me more leads. It is getting my name out there to more customers, and I'm becoming the expert of this industry that I've been, doing business in for the last 10 years.
Yeah, that's a real distinction between a true expert organization versus someone that just does AI. It's very similar to, 10, 15 years ago where anybody that was doing SEO was claiming themselves as an SEO agency. It's like now it's just SEO agency has been replaced, or ad agency or marketing agency or social media marketing agency has now been switched up to an AI specialist or an AI search specialist or an AI ad agency. But it's the same gimmick. So let me ask this: business owners, to actually understand what it is, how they're even being seen online, what kind of digital footprint do they have? I guarantee you most business owners have no clue.
Well, right, and I think one of the things that we can always read about or learn about is, don't get stuck in the weeds
Yeah.
on things as owners of businesses. It's you wanna major in the majors and minor in the minors. I had a history teacher that talked to me about that, and the one thing that I didn't like about that saying was, the minors add up. right? All these little minor things that you can do to get 1% better, those things stack up, and they ended up, getting me a B in a class instead of an A in a class. So that was my caveat to that argument. But if I delegated my history homework to AI to be able to do that stuff for me, well, there you go. This is the same example. It's delegated to somebody who knows what they're doing, so you can focus on the things that you excel at.
Yep. Awesome.
Right. And those minors will stack up to make a big impact on your business. They will become majors eventually.
1000%. I do want to ask you just one or two last questions before we wrap up. I guess at some point, the honest question that I always have to ask is, if doing it myself, and could be you listening right now, like, is really doing this myself, spending the money, and also you have to consider, like, there are different pricing tiers for Claude. At least valuable in the context that we have been discussing, you're going to probably need to opt in at the $200 a month subscription service, just to be able to kind of get the ball rolling and find value in that. Then you have to ask yourself, well, okay, then I have to do all of this. Then I have to be able to set this up properly. I could do the research. I can use AI to make sure that I'm setting this up properly. There are FAQs online that I could follow. Then it just becomes, hey, I'm a business owner. I have to focus on the thing that I'm good at. I want to focus on scaling, making money, turning my business into a revenue machine. Do I want to divert attention and energy into this thing that I have to learn? I will delegate that to an expert that can get it done in a fraction of the time for a nominal fee. That's how I look at it.
I don't want to change my oil. Let me go find somebody who's going to go do it for me. Right.
Right. And listen, you may know how to change your oil technically, right? But cars have advanced. Maybe you have an electric vehicle. I don't know your situation. There's so many variables that are in line with that. So
I can't tell you, back to where you mentioned the resources that a $20 a month subscription to Claude has. So that one conversation I had just building the presentation used up 40% of my usability for my 5 hours, right? And you basically get reset every 5 hours. And the most frustrating thing is to burn tokens, learning how to do something, burning your usage, learning how to do something, getting to the point where you finally feel like you can start creating this project and getting working on it, and then being cut off or having to spend another 20 or 40 or $60 just to finish what you were working on, and having it be, let's say, slightly wrong, right? So now you're going to do your revision and you're spending another 20, 30, $40 just to do the revision on it. At some point it makes sense to say, either I'm going to upgrade and do this myself on the $200 a month plan, or I'm going to give it away to somebody who charges me $500 a month and I don't have to worry about it.
Last thing I'll say is that final thing is, should I use Halo?
Should you use Halo? Yes.
This is what I would consider is, if your current plan for being the name that these language models, these large language models, Perplexity, ChatGPT, gives when your ideal client asks who I should call, and if you already have a clear answer to that, then execute it. But if you don't know, you don't have a clear answer, that is the work. That is where you really have to start considering and start researching, doing some information gathering. Go to Who's the AI, get some research done, check us out, go to our YouTube, look at all the blogs that we've produced. We're kind of everywhere. We're becoming omnipotent at this point. So I think that there's enough information out there. And listen, if you want to have a direct communication, Nate, what's your email? Where they can reach you?
Nate at whozy.ai.
There you go. Like, you have a direct line to a real human being. That's the thing. That's the interface that I believe we are starting to find this disconnect in this AI space, because everybody can presume to be an expert because they have this artificial intelligence with a 500 plus IQ that is just spewing information.
Yeah. And to add some urgency and to answer your question, there's what I recommend Halo. You don't have to be running a promotion or a sale for Halo to be efficient for your company or to get you more leads, right? That was just a specific use case that we talked about. There's a window right now, like in the next 6 to 12 months, that small and medium-sized businesses can take advantage of this gap that is information in whatever industry you're in, right? You're the expert, you're answering the questions. Halo's producing the blogs that answer the questions. It's not a sales blog. It's, hey, if you're wondering about this, here's the information you need. You're aligned now as the expert in that industry. that is the thing is when we're a year out from now and this stuff is really dialed in to where it can just produce a crazy amount of information and everybody has it at their fingertips where it doesn't take everything I showed you to do it. It takes way less to do that and everybody's doing it. Well, now it's like the internet where you're just going to be crowded with people trying to take market space, right? So if you do it now, 6 to 12 months, you already are the expert when everybody's late to the show. And that's important. Whether you do it on your own, you use Halo, you use somebody else, doesn't matter. It is quite an opportunity to take advantage of today. If you guys own a small business, go type into ChatGPT and see if you come up in any kind of search about anything. Go see if you're visible. Go look at that. Go look at that response and
Yep.
see if in any way you can get your business to populate. If not, it's time to do it.
The man has spoken. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Check us all online at HeyHoosie or Hoosie.ai. And we'll see you on the next one. Thank you so much for being here, Nate. And I'm excited for the next episode.
Yeah, thanks for having me.